Before we begin, I'd like to recognize a few of our important guests we have with us today. We have Orange County Mayor Teresa Jacobs. We have Orlando City Commissioner Patty Sheehan. Jeremy Cooker, the Vice President of Marketing and Special Projects with the New Orleans Tourism and Marketing Corporation, and Dustin Warman with the New Orleans LGBT Hospitality Alliance. On June 27th, Orange County Mayor Jacobs announced that the Orange County Regional History Center would collect items from the various memorials that sprung up around our community following the Pulse nightclub shooting on June 12th. Since then, the History Center has collected over 5,000 individual mementos for the One Orlando collection, from handwritten notes to wall-sized pieces of art. The History Center and its staff remain dedicated to treating these items with the utmost dignity and respect. As such, we're pleased to greet our guests from New Orleans today and accept this magnificent fleur-de-lis into the One Orlando collection. Additionally, I understand that they have brought a meaningful financial gift that they are donating from the New Orleans community to this community. At this time, I would like to invite Jeremy Cooker, Vice President of Marketing and Special Projects with the New Orleans Tourism and Marketing Corporation, to say a few words.
Thank you, Michael. Thank you, Mayor Jacobs, for being here. Dustin and I are very honored to be here with everyone. Our organization, the New Orleans Tourism Marketing Corp, has been inviting people to visit New Orleans for nearly 3 decades. And on behalf of our city, our LGBTQ community, and our hospitality industry in New Orleans, we're honored to present this fleur-de-lis sculpture to the Orange County Regional History Center and a donation to the One Orlando Fund as a sign of solidarity for all of our friends here. The events of June 12th at Pulse had a profound impact on millions of Americans and people around the world, including the citizens of New Orleans. And as a city that has always embraced diversity, New Orleanians were deeply affected by those events. And we felt compelled to reach out with support for the community here and for everyone that was impacted by this tragedy. For as long as we can remember, our cities have shared a common bond, really welcoming people from all walks of life, visitors, residents, regardless of lifestyle or background. And today we stand with you in the belief that in the face of tragedy and sadness, with time, love truly can conquer all. The fleur-de-lis sculpture, covered with heartfelt messages and signatures from our citizens, represents this love from our city to yours. While long associated with Louisiana, the fleur-de-lis symbol became a sign of resiliency and pride for a lot of New Orleanians in the months and years following Hurricane Katrina. And as we put our lives and homes back together, the fleur-de-lis seemed to be everywhere. It really helped us unite in a common cause to rebuild, love one another, and strive to be our best selves. So today it's our hope that this symbol in some small way will serve the same purpose for your community, as a reminder that New Orleans stands beside you in love and in spirit. Thank you again for letting us be here with all of you today. I'm now very pleased to introduce you to Dustin Warman. Dustin is the founder of our LGBTQ task force in New Orleans and our marketing agency, Communify, and he's the reason that this sculpture is here today.
The New Orleans gay community came together pretty quickly after the shooting. Our Pride was the following weekend, and so through several events that were put together leading up to that, our event organizers Pride organizers were able to get a memorial float that led our Pride parade, and about 2 times the number of people marched in the parade. Many of them joined that week, and many of them carried signs of support and love and support for Orlando. It was a pretty moving, emotional week for everybody. The LGBT task force, New Orleans Hospitality Alliance, was formed about 2 years ago. It consists of event leaders, LGBT event leaders, organizations within the city and also the hospitality industry at large. At our summer meeting, there was a unanimous call from the group to create something that we could bring to Orlando and show our support and love. And that's where this came. It was created by the Kern family who helped create Mardi Gras for us in New Orleans. So with that, Mayor Jacobs, on behalf of the New Orleans LGBT Hospitality Alliance, please accept this fleur-de-lis monument as part of the One Orlando collection. May it hold a permanent place in history for both of our communities. Thanks.
Wow. I had no idea how incredibly, not just beautiful, but the goosebumps that I would feel when I saw this not just work of art, but all the signatures. I can't wait till we all have a chance to just slow down and take it in. I want to thank you, Destin, and you, Jeremy, and your entire community for thinking of us in our darkest hours. We too have a very strong, as you know, very strong LGBT community. And this symbol of our unity across our sister regions is important to us. And it is a sign and a symbol that we are so honored to be sharing with so much of the world. It's probably the most profound time in the history of the LGBT community that we are all living through today. And I think that so many have seen such incredible progress that the events of June 12th certainly shattered the faith in humanity that a lot of us, straight and LGBTQ, believed was developing. But I think what's important to remember is that as dark a day as June 12th was, and as dark a morning as that was for 49 of our brothers and sisters that we lost so horrifically, and the 53 others who were physically injured, and the hundreds who were emotionally traumatized, and the millions across not just our community but the world and your community who were just utterly devastated by this horror and unspeakable act of hatred. In spite of all of that negativity, during our darkest hour, I am so proud to say that here in Orlando, in Orange County, that love prevailed. In your community, love prevailed. There is simply no other antidote to hatred than love. You can't fight it in any other way. You have to overcome it by being your best selves. Whoever said that, thank you. I can say for myself and so many of my brothers and sisters in the straight community that we still struggle to be our best selves. But the outpouring of love and support that we've received worldwide and from New Orleans has been a huge part of that healing and that triumph. It's been a big part of making us stronger and making us better and making our resolve something that none of us are willing to turn back on. For the first time here in Orlando, I think that all of us felt that this battle was no longer a battle of those who are members of the LGBTQ community. Because when any group fights a battle by themselves, history shows they're almost destined to lose. The battles are won when all of us join in that fight for equality, for justice, for love, for compassion, for understanding. And here in Orange County, we stand with you, we stand beside you, we stand behind you, and as I said just days after, if we need to, we will stand in front of you. If ever somebody comes to attack any member, any brother or sister of ours in this community or across the world. We love you. We thank you, New Orleans. We look forward to spending more time. I'm making a commitment. I am coming out to your parade. I have never been there, but I'm so honored that you're here. You probably know that we did watch your float, and it was awesome. And I got to tell you, it was a big part of the healing. There's lots of parts of healing, and you can see I, like our whole community, am still working on that healing process, but it made a huge difference. It made a huge difference. You've touched our hearts, and you've helped in so many ways. But I've never been to New Orleans, so I've got to come. We had to postpone our parade. We'll probably talk about that in a minute. Our Gay Pride Parade will be November 12th, correct? November 12th. And we're inviting everyone from anywhere in the world to come and join us. And we are going to display the crosses here, and we have a ceremony that we want to conduct. And everybody that's a part of our LGBTQ, no more... Patty Sheehan and I have talked about this. No more initials for the next 2 years, right? Just kidding. I don't care how many initials there are. But we're going to have the crosses displayed here, and we're going to have a short memorial service, and we want to invite you to join us right before the parade. And I also want to ask Michael, the director of our History Center. Where'd you go, Michael?
I'm right here.
There you are. I think this needs to be here. It's just too beautiful, and it's too much of a symbol of our unity. So let's have this here as well. Thank you again. Thank you so much for thinking of us, for caring about us, for standing with us and joining us. And please consider coming back on November 12th. We'd love to have you.
Well, yes, speaking on behalf of the History Center, we thank our guests from New Orleans sincerely for this wonderful gift that will be added to the One Orlando collection and will be on display until further notice here at the History Center for all to see and to recognize just another example of the country standing behind Orlando in its great time of need.
Can we allow Patty Sheehan to have a few
We
words?
certainly can.
Good, thank you. I should have introduced her. I'm Patty Sheehan, a commissioner from the city of Orlando, and our first openly gay commissioner from Orlando, and a good friend of mine. And she's here as well and has been so instrumental in our healing process. And she opened a dog park yesterday. Was it your first in Orlando?
Yes. Well, second.
Second. She opened a dog park, so she's limping pretty badly. For the record, none of the dogs bit her. I just thought I needed to clarify that. She did get run into, so I've got a great knee doctor I'm going to recommend her to. In the meantime, Commissioner Sheehan, please.
Thank you, Mayor. And this is a beautiful day of solidarity with the city of New Orleans. And shortly after Hurricane Katrina, we had the National League of Cities convention in New Orleans. And I bought a little symbol from one of the silversmiths there. It's a Fleur de lis, and I've worn it ever since because I feel such an affinity for the city of New Orleans. Also, New Orleans was the scene of the largest massacre of LGBTQ people. It was in a nightclub. A lot of times in nightclubs in the 70s, they were victims of violence, and a Molotov cocktail, is that what you call them, was thrown into the bar, and people were locked inside, and they burned to death. That's how the LGBTQ community was treated, and that's how my community was treated. And the really awful thing that happened after that was that it was not investigated. Now, when you fast forward many years later, when the Pulse nightclub shooting happened, you had men and women of our SWAT team in the city of Orlando rushing in to save members of our community and saved as many as they could. And then you had this in the aftermath, you had the SWAT team actually have a picnic for the survivors, showing their love for them. So sometimes progress takes a very long time, but if you look at the difference between what happened in New Orleans in the 70s and what happened in the year 2016 in the city of Orlando, you'll see that progress, while slow, has made a tremendous difference in how we treat one another and how we respect one another. And all the LGBTQ community and all these fine people I've worked with for many years, all we've ever wanted was to be treated equally and decently. And it's unfortunate that it takes hate crimes sometimes to make people realize that there are people who hate us and want to hurt us, but there are so many more who want to lift us up and love us, which is this beautiful symbol that you see in front of us. So thank you, New Orleans. I'm delighted to be here. Say hello to my friend Larry Bagnaris. And I'd like to if I can get walking again, I'll be coming to New Orleans soon. Thank you very much.
Well, again, our thanks to our guests, Jeremy and Dustin from New Orleans. This will be a treasured piece of the One Orlando collection from now on. As we continue our preservation efforts, they do remain ongoing. We continue to collect and preserve the memorial items that are left. It will be one of the most meaningful collections that we could have in the Historical Society's entire collection. You will see more of it in the future, digitally and otherwise, so be on the lookout and as we continue to preserve these items. With that, we will close this ceremony and invite people to come up for photographs and enjoy the Fleur de Lis. Thank you very much.